My name's Ilana Friedman and I'm a member of the Middle Ground team. We are a dynamic, interactive and creative team of 4. I'm based here in London along with Tony Page. Umar Kawu is based in Nigeria and Twalib Ibrahim in Kenya. We have experience of working across 5 continents and across the corporate, NGO and public sector. This eclectic mix means we bring great diversity and innovation to our work. So what do?
We develop leaders to be ethical and accountable for system-wide impact. Specifically, we offer leadership programs in 2 modules. Module A, Leadership Breakthroughs, and Module B, Systemic Mentors, which is delivered in partnership with Eve Middleton-Kelly from the London School of Economics Complexity Group.
Module A is a 3-day program which leads on to Module B. In the last 12 months, we have delivered Module A in Africa, Asia, Europe and the Americas, drawing on participants from a wide range of countries such as Kenya, Namibia, Sudan, Ethiopia, India, Malaysia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Mexico and the UK.
All of these people feed into our Module B, happening in October. The purpose of this film is to invite you to join us in London for 3 days to take your leadership and your breakthrough initiative to the next level in Module B. So let's find out more.
चल चल क्या बात करता है क्या ऊपर से जाएगा क्या ऊपर से जा जा
गया मेन शो
I hate this country. कुछ करो ना.
अब मैं वहां जाके क्या उखाड़ लूंगा.
कैसी जाने बूंदे आई जाने कैसा दर्द लाई सामने क्या है ये तेरे क्यों रुका है तू बता रे हो कौन तुझको पार लेगा कौन होगा वो मसीहा जिसे तू ढूंढता है वो ही है तू वही है तुझ में तेरा रास्ता है तुझ में तेरा है सहारा तू ही तुझको पार लेगा तू ही है तेरा किनारा है तुझ में तेरा है सहारा तू ही तुझको पार लेगा तू ही है तेरा किनारा जिसे ढूंढता है.
We've watched the video. What did you notice? What stood out for you?
Well, I must say the first thing that is very obvious is what in complexity terms is called self-organization. The fact, first of all, the little boy and then the other boys came to join him and then the adults. But it's far more than that because there was a huge challenge, a challenge that appeared to be totally unsolvable, totally intractable. And there is that tiny little boy. In fact, what we see is a complete phase transition from a disabling environment where everyone was passive, were almost paralyzed, to the little boy acting as the catalyst to create, but co-create. Although he was the catalyst, it was something that was co-created by all the little boys coming together and then the adults joining them. It was something that they created together. They created that environment that made it possible to lift that tree trunk. What emerged was that all of them together were able to shift that big tree trunk, to address that insurmountable challenge. That's why I call them apparently intractable problems. They appear intractable because we see them as such and because of the way we address them. And so it is that way of addressing that needs to change.
Why do you think that people sitting in their rickshaws and cars and so on were paralysed?
I think that is something that we see constantly. And I will bring in the example of climate change. We all feel as individuals, how can I, as an individual, actually do anything to make a difference? And therefore, because the problem is so huge, that we feel there is nothing I can do. And what this shows is that the individual actually can make a difference. That is the huge power of some of these ideas that we're working with. We will talk about some complexity principles, but it's not going to be just pure lecturing, because the way I like to do it is to talk about a cluster of principles, then invite people to actually think about them in their own context and give me examples, because that is where you're making the transition from the theory to the practice. In fact, what we've done is we have sort of extracted the essence of those principles in developing a methodology that is very practical. But first of all, we need to understand what we call the multi-dimensional problem space. You should not, be too frightened about the words. What it simply means is that every problem has multiple dimensions. It is social, it is cultural, it is political, economic, even it has a physical dimension. And we need to unpack that. We need to understand all those different dimensions of that problem space, simply because they influence each other and change each other. Once you've understood the multidimensional problem space, you can then move to co-create the appropriate environment. How do we co-create that enabling environment, that environment in the organization that will make it possible to address a challenge, a big challenge?
What I was going to say was about where we started out, to kind of get that story going of running the program in London and then in Johannesburg, and then working with that group and realizing that so many people in that group had been through, they formulated their breakthrough initiatives, and we were basically sending them off. And the question was, where would that take them, and how would we bring them back to another experience where they could review their successes, share them, find out what their challenges were now, and if they're stuck at some point, see what would release that onto the next level.
What this Module B really offers people is an extension of that leadership journey. We walk with them to say, actually, you got a huge amount of tools in Module A. You got a different way of thinking. You got a way of working within your organizations that's impactful. But kind of our world is complex. And so how do we support people on that leadership journey, which, as you say, brought us to saying, okay, let's look at who are some of the leading thinkers in complexity work and in working with intractable problems.
So you should now have a good idea of the content of Module B. Let's remind you of the headline details.
Module B enables you to face intractable problems in a new way, to develop yourself as a mentor that shifts stuck systems, not just tweaking them, by integrating complexity principles into your leadership.
Module B is a 3-day program delivered in partnership with the London School of Economics Complexity Group, happening in London from October 23rd to 25th.
Module B costs £700. This covers tuition, material and lunch for 3 days. So come and join us and take advantage of this exciting opportunity to network with other great leaders and stretch your leadership further.